jambalaya, seafood gumbo, crawfish etouffee. It has been a delicious couple of days here in Louisiana, but it's time to put away the forks and bring out the race cars. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Allen, along with my Cajun buffet partner, Roby Helm, and we've got ourselves what we hope is a very spicy 100-lap feature tonight at Thunder Valley Speedway. What should we expect?
Well, Mark, the drivers have been watching this racetrack closely. They've been monitoring the track after every preliminary event. They're waiting until the last possible minute to make their final tire compound selections.
One of those drivers who is doing that is Steve Francis, the current series points leader, but also the defending race champion. Our Bill Hennessy talked with him earlier today.
Steve, the 2000 season has begun, and you're the points leader, but you haven't won a race.
Yeah, we've been kind of blessed with that. You know, we've had good cars a couple nights, but just got caught up in things. So, you know, somebody's been looking out for us to be able to be leading the points and not won a race yet.
What's giving you the consistency here this year?
You know, I really don't know. Last year we were in contention to win 2 or 3 races early in the year, and we're like 8th or 9th in points this year. This year we really haven't been in contention to win, but we're able to win. You know, we're able to be leading the points. So I honestly can't tell you what's happened. Just, I guess, dumb luck more than anything else.
You won here last year at Glenmora. Can you repeat tonight? And if so, what is your advantage?
Well, you know, they've changed the racetrack just a tiny bit, and, you know, we come back here with a different setup and thought it was going to be better. It was a little better practice night. And last night we just missed, and now we've got to start 13th in the race. So any advantage we had from winning last year is gone because we weren't smart enough to come back with the same notes. You know, we tried to outsmart the racetrack, and, you know, sometimes that bites you. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Looking at the point standings coming into the Jambalaya 100, Steve Francis, Rick Eckert 1-2, followed by Donnie Moran, Wendell Wallace, Scott Lundquist. Looking at 6 through 10, a tightly bunched group of drivers there.
Dan Schlieper is 9th. He's also our pole sitter, and he's with Bill.
Mark, the driver starting on the pole is none other than Dan Schlieper, injured last year, but you come back with quite a bit of confidence this year, and you're starting on the pole here tonight in Glenmora. Have you made the right choices as far as the car being set up and the tires?
I think as far as the car, we should be all right, but the tires, I have never seen more confused drivers in my life. This track has done a bunch of changing throughout the whole weekend, and right now it's at such an inconsistent point that we don't know what to do. I hope I gambled a little bit on tires, and I hope I made the right choice.
Eat or race? It's a tough choice here in Louisiana. May be an issue with the weather. Let's go back trackside to Bill Hennessy.
While a lot of the drivers want moisture on the racetrack, there may be another problem with moisture. We're on the leading edge of a front, and we could get rain before the 50-lap mark.
And that weather, just one more concern other than tire selection, track conditions. So these drivers are glad to have these helmets on so they can quit scratching their head.
And also they're looking at Dan Schlieper on the pole. He's the one to be chasing. Right next to him will be Billy Moyer in the number 21 Petroff towing entry. On the second row, it's Davey Johnson in the GBS Racing 1J, and Wendell Wallace, second in the series points last year.
Donnie Moran sits on the inside the third row for the McCullough Motorsports Masterville Grand Prix. Outside of him, Terry English from Kentucky. Then it'll be Freddie Smith on the outside of row 4 alongside Steve Shaver in the 30 car.
Inside of row 5 will be Shannon Babb, and next to him the 3-time series champion Scott Lundquist. As we take a look at the rest of the field, Rick Eckert off to a strong start to the season with 3 wins. Now he's trying to get back on top. Steve Francis, our series points leader. Marshall Green, a multiple winner in 1999, looking to do well. Jimmy Mars, we need to talk about him a little bit. Dodge Power under the hood of his entry.
A brand new power plant for Jimmy Mars, looking for big things out of that Gary Stanton built Mopar.
And the defending series champion Dale McDowell starting way back in the 22nd position. He is off to a horrible start in 2000, hoping to turn it around tonight. 24 drivers, 24 hopefuls. One gets to victory lane tonight. Everybody else says wait till next time. We've got 100 laps, the Jumbalaya 100, presented by the Louisiana Department of Tourism and Recreation. The green flag is out.
Side by side off the second turn with Schlieper on the inside. Look at Wendell Wallace, and there is Davey Johnson in the GBS ride. 4 cars up front battling for the lead.
TBS Racing, a Louisiana-based team, so they know this dirt as well as anybody. Look at Wallace getting racy, thinking about 3 wide.
Some contact.
I'll tell you, I'm not so sure about that. I think Sleeper was pretty well out of shape already by that point, but Wendell wisely backs off and lets it sort out. Now he'll try going upstairs for the second spot, and Billy Moyer now uncontested in the lead.
Wendell Wallace going to try to make it in the middle, 3 wide. He'll tuck back in behind Moyer, and Davey Johnson still right there. As we saw in our telecast from East Bay, Davey Johnson likes the inside of the racetrack.
It looks like the high line is the quick line around to start. That's where Davey Johnson is, and he's kind of pinching off our pole sitter, Dan Sleeper. Will he be able to take the 3rd spot? But look up front for the lead. It's Wendell Wallace to the inside of Billy Moyer. Can he make it work downstairs? A look at Sleeper.
The Batesville boys side by side for the lead. Wallace will grab the point from Billy Moyer. Sleeper down on the bottom with Davey Johnson glued to his rear bumper, and Steve Shaver coming up in the 5th spot.
We've got a 2-groove racetrack. Look at Sleeper downstairs all the way to the 2nd spot. Will he be able to hold it? Now, yes, he will. The battle is for 3rd. Look at Johnson by 6 inches over Moyer, and Shaver right there.
Well, we're into those opening laps, so the tire selections that people are made are going to start to come to fruition. Contact between Shaver and Moyer. Moyer jumped the cushion going into 3. He's going to lose several spots.
And might have scuffed the outside wall as now Terry English has moved by, and so has Fast Freddie Smith. Shannon Babb in the 18 also moving up.
Well, Moyer did not recover as quickly as I thought he would after making that little miscue contact with Shaver. It looks to me like Moyer is going backwards. He could have made a bad tire choice. As Dan Sleeper said at the top of the show, he's never seen so many guys scratching their head guessing on tires.
Davey Johnson in the 1J. The TBS Racing program trying to get back on its feet after Scott Bloomquist and that operation were unable to essentially come to an agreement after they had already said, yeah, let's go race together. But when it came time to sit down and sign the papers, they just found it wasn't going to be a good fit. Look at Freddie Smith to the inside of the 00C. That is Jeff Chandler. Freddie Smith in the 00.
Freddie Smith, always a hard charger. He's won that hard charger award for Hav A Tampa for many years running in the series. And Freddie Smith will always be there in that top 5, it seems like, at the end of the race. And he's making a charge early as he races with Terry English. Dale McDowell trying to work his way up through the field after starting 22nd as he works around Vernon Smith, Rookie of the Year contender in car number 4.
There's Bill Fry passing 28. That's Dennis Erb Jr., the reigning Rookie of the Year. The 15B is Brian Burkhofer. The 31, Skip Arp. They are in the way of the race leader. Wendell Wallace says, move over, goes to the high side, takes the spot. And that kind of pinched Davey Johnson a little bit to the high side. Maybe not exactly where he wanted to be at that moment. He'll lose a couple of feet, but basically, Roby, not a whole lot to Wallace.
Well, he gets a little bit too high in turn number 2 as he works around Skip Arp, and I'm sure that Davey Johnson knows that that car will work a little bit better down on the bottom of the racetrack, but that's where the lap cars are. So there's Freddie Smith moving underneath Terry English of that 96 car as Freddie Smith continues his march towards the front. He's all the way up into the 6th position.
And caution is on the track for the first time. It looks like Mike Belzano has slid off to the inside of the Speedway. So on lap 15, the yellow waves for the first time here in the Jumbalaya 100. It has been everything we hoped in these early laps. Multiple groove racing, lead changes, position swaps all the way through the top 10. And because Balzano brought out the caution, he'll have to drop to the rear of the field.
There we see Davey Johnson out of Greensburg, Pennsylvania, the GBS Racing 1J. And he just picked up that ride, and he talked about it earlier this afternoon.
Pennsylvania driver Davey Johnson sitting in the GBS entry this weekend. How did this come about?
Me and Joel talked a little bit down at East Bay. I'm still going to be driving a Brad Malka car in a Star Circuit, but my weekend's off here. I'm going to help Joel out in the GBS crew, and it's a good ride and a pretty good run last night in it.
Is there any difference between the car you're driving now and your regular Stars entry?
They're both rocket chassis, so that makes it a little simpler for me. Just keep working at it and get the car a little better.
What's your anticipation here at Glenmora this weekend?
After last night, we tore up some sheet metal. It's awful tight racing here, but a real racy place, and I tell you what, 100 laps here is going to be real exciting.
The clay through Pennsylvania, West Virginia is a bit different than that here in Louisiana. What is that difference?
Not a whole lot. I tell you what, we have a lot of places up home in the West Virginia area that's got a similar surface with this little bit of black, a little bit of loose dirt on it. So it's not as different as everybody thinks it is.
So far, so good for Johnson, sitting in the second spot. We'll be back with more from Louisiana after this.
How do you enhance a V8 engine that produces 245 horsepower? A chassis that can haul up to 2,000 pounds? Or brakes that have 4 piston calipers? Simple. Add about 6 pounds of steel. Toyota Tundra, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and 4-Wheel and Off-Road Magazine's 4x4 of the Year.
This preview contains 2 flame-broiled, quarter-pound burgers, smothered with hot melted cheese. That's a lot of meat for national television. Got the urge?
Hear what parents are saying about the most famous name in reading, Hooked on Phonics.
It's hysterical. I have people stopping me in the grocery stores and asking me how old she is. How did you teach her like it's magic?
Introducing Hooked on Phonics, the revolutionary fun way to help your child become a better reader.
Within 20 minutes, she was reading at, cat, cat.
With over 2 million families turning to Hooked on Phonics, it's the premier reading system designed to give your child the head start she deserves.
Her first book, she read it literally by herself. I was standing there in the kitchen. And as she did that more and more, I could see the self-esteem growing. I mean, it just became such a joy to do every day.
Hooked on Phonics guarantees you'll see an improvement in your child's reading in 4 weeks or your money back. Call now and you'll also receive the World Book Encyclopedia on CD-ROM, a $70 value absolutely free. Pick up the phone now and call 1-800-ABCDEFG to give your child the Hooked on Phonics head start.
OLN is your ticket to adventure to beautiful Italy. Just watch OLN's primetime coverage of the Giro d'Italia, May 13th through June 4th. Look for this ticket to adventure and the name of the city the grand prize winner will fly to. Enter at away.com, your destination for extraordinary travel. Or send a postcard with the answer, your name, address, and phone number to OLN's Ticket to Adventure Sweepstakes. P.O. Box 899, 106, Weymouth, Mass. 02189. Contest ends June 10. Watch OLN to win your ticket to adventure.
Welcome back to the Jumbalaya 100, presented by the Louisiana Department of Tourism and Recreation. I'll tell you one thing that we've done down here to excess. Well, there's Bill Hennessy doing it right now, is eating. Man, this has been nothing but great eats down here.
How come Bill Hennessy gets all the good assignments?
Yeah, he's now here's an expert. Now there are tricks to getting the little meat out of between the legs down there and all that. And until you've done it, there's a little art form to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You never forget.
And Bill's been practicing all day.
All right, well, we've had enough fun with that. Let's go back to racing here, where Wendell Wallace is on the point as we restart on lap 15. The battle for third is joined with Steve Shaver down to the inside, and a Simonson Windows entry to the inside of our pole sitter, Dan Schleifer. Looks like he will take over the third spot, but we've watched that high group working pretty well.
And that cushion has moved up just a little bit from the start of the race, and Dan Schleifer's giving it a ride. Shaver working the bottom. He's got Freddie Smith right behind him in the 5th spot of the 00.
There's Terry English getting battled from Shannon Babb in the 18. And right behind him, Steve Francis in the 15, our series points leader in heavy traffic.
So 2 different grooves, 2 different tire compounds are needed. You can see the track starting to get a little bit black down on the bottom, as Shaver now is going to try the outside into 30. The dirt is moist up on the top. There's a cushion up there for him to ride on, and you can use a softer tire up there. Down on the bottom, a little bit harder compound tire is needed.
Whoa, right to the wall. That's what you call rim riding. As Schleifer now has reeled in Davey Johnson. Not so sure there wasn't just a little bit of contact.
Well, Schleifer is really getting a good bite off the corners, and you will see those drivers jockey back and forth. Johnson will be taking the short way around, and Schleifer up high. Got to travel further, but he can carry more speed.
Terry English continuing to successfully to defend his position over Babb. Right behind him is Francis, still in the early going. You don't have to be too aggressive at this point simply because you don't want to burn the tires off, but there is that threat of rain, so drivers are really faced with a conundrum here of what to do. Run hard, wear out your tires, or be patient and maybe get yourself reined into a position where you can't get up if showers do descend on the speedway.
And there's yet even a third group that's beginning to form, Mark. You see Freddie Smith.
Oh, look at Sleeper hanging
now, right back down on the bottom. Sleeper, after driving the top for a while, has now gone to the inside. Now he'll drift way up to the outside out of 2.
Might have slapped the wall, or kissed it maybe would be a better way of putting it, but he is definitely using up all of the racetrack, and that has allowed Shaver to close, as well as Freddie Smith.
And Freddie Smith right down in that black streak on the bottom, 4 wide off the second turn.
For just a moment, Jeff Chandler, and a car up against the outside wall. That is Marshall Green. And he will not be able to get back to speed, so we will have the caution out for the second time on lap 23.
Marshall Green, a 3-time winner last year, off to a slow start in the 2000 season. Had a pretty bad crash at East Bay Raceway, injured his neck, and he's been on the shelf for a couple of weeks recovering from that. But now he's back in the race car, back to 100%.
And let's take a look at that wild action just moments ago. Boy, Sleeper had to dive down to the inside, and give credit to Chandler. He saw him there and got out of the way, but he almost got pinched up into Marshall Green. We'll be back with more action from the Thunder Valley Speedway. We've got a good one going. Stay with us.
Sure, my old job gave me a paycheck, but it didn't give me much else. So I called ITT Tech. I always liked electronics, and with their help, I was able to turn what I like to do into what I'm paid to do. Now I have a job that gives me some real satisfaction, and something I never had before, a real future.
For an informative brochure, call ITT Tech at 1-800-942-0099. That's 1-800-942-0099.
What's it like to drive what the big boys drive? Call now for your free John Deere video. You'll see the full line of Deere lawn and garden tractors. The power, the attachments, the ruggedness for the long haul. Best of all, you'll find a John Deere sized for every lawn and every wallet. So, get it in gear. Call now for your free video and see why nothing runs like a Deere.
Volunteers, we all have regular jobs. We can be coming from anywhere. We get a call, we need to get to the fire right now.
Things that are going through our mind are hazards we might face, so that when we get on scene, we're ready to act.
We need a truck that can handle anything we throw at it.
4 full-size doors gets us in and out quickly.
There's 6 people in the cab, and there's a ton of room for cargo. Great truck.
Tomorrow night, get the recap on all the NASCAR action from Richmond. Then it's the FIA World Rally Championships from Sweden. And it's an encore presentation of F1 from Spain. That's NASCAR Inside Winston Cup Racing at 7 Eastern, the FIA World Rally Championships at 8, and the Spanish GP at 8:30.
It only seems that the hot spot at Thunder Valley Speedway is the crawfish table. Oh, boy. My stomach's growling just looking at that.
At least they can bring some up here to the booth for us.
I think they're being a little bit selfish down there, just like Wendell Wallace has been with the point ever since he took it in the early going here in the Jumbalaya 100. Davey Johnson's tried just about every method possible to get around him, but hasn't been able to do it. Dan Sleeper, well, he's using up all the real estate that this racetrack's got. Kissed the wall that time and might have even bumped into Johnson. Oh, man. They need to widen this racetrack at least another groove for the Milwaukee, Wisconsin driver.
Sleeper looked like he might have tapped the wall in the back straightaway, too. So, I mean, if there was more racetrack out there that he could get, he'd use it, but the wall kind of prevents him from doing that.
Davey Johnson doesn't get a good set off in the second corner, and that allows Wendell Wallace to open up as much breathing space as he has seen so far in the contest.
Wendell Wallace with a good groove down on the inside of the racetrack. Dan Sleeper still trying to use, oh, he jumped the cushion in turn 2. He's in the wall down the back straightaway. that is going to hurt that race car.
And that brings out our third caution. Schlieper had been putting on his own thrill show up in a whole separate groove to everybody else, and it finally bit him.
You can see he hooks a rut up coming out of turn number 2. That sucks the right front corner right into the concrete. You can see those front wheels turn to the left as it snaps the tie rod in. By that time, Dan Schlieper is just a passenger by the time he gets to the end of the backstretch.
And anytime a driver takes the helmet off, that pretty much tells you that his night is done. Our pole sitter is putting on a great show, and it looks like his evening is for naught. Bouncing back off of a broken neck suffered in August of last year, came back all the way, won a race down at East Bay Raceway when the steering column broke, literally muscled the car to victory lane. He's standing by now with Bill Hennessy.
Dan, what happened out there? It seemed like you were taking a very high line. Something wrong with the car?
No, I just got that highlight working for me, and second place car there was just drifting up in front of me, and I had to back down going on the back chute. It's just one of them deals. I got over the cushion coming out of 2 there, and nothing to do.
A disappointed driver walking away. He was turning the wheel all he could to the left. The tie rod end broke, turned him right into the wall. We'll be back with more right after this.
It didn't have to end like this. Armor All Protectant. Armor All Car Wax. It's not just shine, it's Armor All.
For Corvette, the legend continues. GM's wind tunnel played a major role in the development of the Corvette C5R, but the C5 road car proved an extremely sound basis.
Luckily for us, when they designed the C5 the first time for the production, they did an excellent job on track. We utilized all of the upper body surfaces and basically just developed a package of appendages that would increase the aero potential of the vehicle. So much of the stock Corvette still remains.
This preview contains 2 flame-broiled, quarter-pound burgers, smothered with hot melted cheese. That's a lot of meat for national television. Got the urge?
When I was a kid, I grew up reading about my dad's racing adventures in Cycle News. Man, was he good.
Cycle News is America's weekly motorcycle newspaper. In the wins, interviews, same-week coverage of major events, local, national, and world championship calendars, want ads, and more. To subscribe, call 1-800-325-2925 for America's #1 motorcycle newspaper.
Now my dad reads about me.
Be like Jason. Subscribe to Cycle News.
Under yellow, Wendell Wallace, of course, continues to lead. He finished second in the series championship last year to Dale McDowell, who is having a very difficult season, and Bill Hennessy talked with him earlier.
Dale McDowell, you had Lady Luck on your side in 1999. Why is she frowning on you right now?
Well, I don't know. Can't figure that out quite yet. You know, seems like everything's just kind of turned south for us this year. You know, it goes that way, so you just kind of keep digging through the troubled times and hope there'll be a better outcome next week. This next week hasn't come yet.
You handled the pressure so well last year. How are you handling it now that you're not in the top 10 in points?
Well, you know, the competition level is just unbelievable, you know, in the Hav A Tampa series. I think this is probably, you know, there's more cars follow the Hav A Tampa series than any other, you know, late model dirt series or dirt track racing organization of any kind. So I think that speaks to the high level of competition for the entire series, and one of the reasons why it's so tough to maintain, you know, a high point average and stay in the top 10 points. But I really feel like that we got a slow start off in Florida. You know, at the times we were running good, we would have flat tires or some, you know, such things as that. And then the driver, he kind of messes up every now and then, you know. So take all those factors and put them all together, and you know, and it makes for a tough start.
Keep our fingers crossed for Dale McDowell. Too nice a guy to be running as poorly as he is so far this season. Another nice guy, in fact, a bunch of nice guys at the front of the field. To be totally politically correct, these are a bunch of good fellas out here in the Hav A Tampa Late Model Series. Wendell Wallace, the man still on the point, Steve Shaver, moving down to the inside of Davey Johnson, trying to take over second, and right behind him is Freddie Smith.
Davey Johnson taking a try on the outside, went right back down to the inside. Now Shaver kind of looking at that outside groove. Freddie Smith down on the bottom. Shannon Babb moving into the picture in the 6th spot in the 18 car.
Terry English getting pressure as he has for quite a while now from Steve Francis. And there's Scott Bloomquist, the first time we've seen him into frame. He's solidly in the top 10, and he's also trying to work upstairs. Maybe he saw something, maybe his crew chief saw something that flashed him on the pit board that maybe the high side is a way to go that you haven't tried yet.
Well, these drivers, unlike last year, they're not allowed to have two-way radio communication. So, as Mark said, the pit board comes into play, and about the only time these drivers have time to read it is during a caution.
Rick Eckert, second in the series points, trying to catch Bloomquist, but needs to be more concerned with who's directly behind him, and that's Dale McDowell, who is moving up smartly.
Dale McDowell having a good run in the 17M car. Started back in the 22nd starting spot, and he has worked his way up into the top 10.
Look at Scott Bloomquist riding the high line and picking off positions as Steve Shaver getting some pressure from Shannon Babb. Shaver not that many laps ago was up there battling for the 3rd spot and has given up some distance.
In the tire compound choices that these drivers made, you see drivers moving around a lot after a caution flag. Is Bloomquist on the outside moving around Terry English, and now all of a sudden Scott Bloomquist knocking on the door of the top 5.
Still in the early portions of this race, there has been the threat of rain. Maybe Bloomquist knows something that we don't, because he is charging toward the front as if it's the final 10 laps.
And Bloomquist doing a little lane changing out there. He worked the high side. Now he's back down on the bottom of the racetrack. And as I was saying, as we watched Bloomquist make that move, when you come out of a caution flag, these tires have had an opportunity to cool down, and they're a little more versatile. But once they get some heat in them, they find a groove that they like. Wendell Wallace working down on the bottom as he has all race long. That's where his tires like it, as he moves underneath Jeff Chandler again in that 00 car. But these drivers using multiple grooves here at Thunder Valley Speedway, as we see back Dan Schleeper's back out on the racetrack. So the dejected driver that we saw earlier has been able to repair the S9 car, and he's a couple of laps down, but Dan Schleeper, he just enjoys racing. I know that he's glad to be out there.
There's Ray Cook, also hoping for good things in his English Mountain Spring Water entry. Sat on the pole for the Hav A Tampa shootout last year, but went the entire 1999 season without a victory in the series. Won some non-sanctioned event. These guys will go run on their off weekends or off nights of the week. And basically, the Hav A Tampa regulars pretty much dominate the competition around the country. But once they come back among their brethren here in the United Dirt Track Racing Association, it's a whole different ball game. And he has worked his way around Billy Moyer, who was running very well at the start of the race, but has been steadily backpedaling.
Well, Billy Moyer, as we heard at the top of the show, these drivers making tire selections, basically just guessing on the setup, because this track changes so much during the course of this event. As we see Wendell Wallace moving up on Marshall Green, who had trouble earlier. He's back running again, but he's about to go a lap down to the race leader, Wendell Wallace.
This track last year was pretty much a one-group speedway. The first time the series had come here, and they've had a whole season to work on it, get the facility complete. It was just about brand new last year. It looks great. And the racing surface is particularly well prepared, as there was contact there. Shaver tapped Jeff Chandler. Chandler goes to the high side, allowing Babb and Scott Bloomquist underneath. Bloomquist is steadily catching the pack directly in front of him, and he's also reeling in our leader. We've had the stopwatch out, and he is running faster than Wendell Wallace.
Wendell Wallace pretty much running the bottom of the racetrack, trying to work his way through traffic there, where Scott Bloomquist seems like he can drive his car anywhere he wants to on the racetrack to try to work through that lap traffic as he chases down the leaders.
Now, here's a sight you don't see very often. Wendell Wallace putting a lap on Donnie Moran, top 5 in the series points, but does not have the handle tonight. We'll be back with more after this.
Agreement. Prolong engine treatment has no equal in the world.
You know, I can't drive around town at over 300 miles per hour, but I still put my personal vehicles under a lot of stress. I count on Prolong for the ultimate in protection and performance. The
Johnsons have used Prolong off the track for years because we know it works.
Nothing lubricates like Prolong. Its patented technology treats the engine, not just the oil.
Prolong's a super lubricant. It bonds to the metal in your car's engines and helps reduce friction. There's nothing else like it.
I believe in Prolong. At home, I use it in every engine I have.
Prolong's great stuff. In fact, it's so superior to other engine treatments that they offer a lifetime limited product warranty for your engine.
But if you want the warranty, you have to call Prolong.
Call today and get the details on the lifetime warranty.
Find out how using Prolong can help save you money. Call the number on your screen now. Prolong, no equal in the world.
We got movement. Go, go, go! Hang on, Light.
The next generation Subaru Outback comes standard with full-time all-wheel drive.
There it is, over there!
It delivers incredible traction and control.
Whoa, I see it!
So you can always be ready to face the unknown.
Did you see the size of that thing?
Yeah, they're kind of cute when they're babies.
Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon from Subaru.
Get the latest word in performance. Get the inside track on import car news. Get all the answers you're looking for in Motor Trend, the world's #1 automotive authority. Call now to get a free trial issue of Motor Trend and save 76% off the cover price. Whether you're looking for a new car or you're an automotive enthusiast, everything you need to know is in the pages of Motor Trend. From road test review to performance trends, from sport coupes to SUVs, from Detroit to Tokyo. It's all in Motor Trend. Call now and get a free trial issue of Motor Trend and save 76% off the cover price. Motor Trend, it's got all the automotive answers you're looking for. Call now for a year's worth of the world's #1 automotive authority. Motor Trend, 1 year is only $9.97. Call now and get a free trial issue.
We stay under green at Thunder Valley Speedway, where Wendell Wallace has been running all by himself for the most part, but now he has caught race traffic, working down to the inside of Dennis Erb Jr., the reigning Rookie of the Year, as we approach the mid-race point. Sitting in second is Davey Johnson in the 1J, but look at the pressure he's getting from Freddie Smith.
Freddie Smith, they've got to work around the bottom of Donnie Moran in the 99 car. And Davey Johnson is another one of those drivers that's been able to work multiple grooves around Thunder Valley Speedway. Freddie Smith basically been working the inside groove all race long, but it has worked for him as he has worked his way up into the 3rd position.
Interesting to watch how Davey Johnson, once he got around Donnie Moran, decided to stay low. We know Freddie Smith's been pretty much doing that all night, but Johnson decides that that middle groove or even middle-lower groove is the best way, as Wendell Wallace has now got Billy Moyer, strangely enough, directly in front of him, the man who led the laps here. He's also got Bill Fry sitting directly in front of the Universe number 66.
And as soon as Wendell Wallace could get down to the inside, he did.
Taking a look at our Hoosier Tire mid-race recap, we've had 2 lead changes. Dan Schleifer led the first circuit, then Billy Moyer took over, but ever since lap 45, it has been Wendell Wallace.
And Freddie Smith has just moved into the 2nd spot, moving underneath Davey Johnson. We saw Wendell Wallace working that outside groove as he moved around lap traffic, but as soon as the opportunity presented itself, he got right back down on the inside. So Wendell Wallace knows that his car is not as quick on that outside as it is down on the bottom, as Freddie Smith trying to reel in our race leader, Wendell Wallace, in lap traffic, as Freddie Smith will work underneath the 21 car of Billy Moyer, as Wendell Wallace directly in front of him. There you see the 00 down on the inside. He's moving underneath Bill Fry in the 66 car.
Dale McDowell, the 17M, started 22nd, has gotten himself into the top 10. Right at the 10th position, right behind him is Rick Eckert. And oh, look at this, just past mid-race. Our 2nd place runner, Davey Johnson, is off the pace.
Davey Johnson gave the golf valve service GVS Racing entry a good ride tonight, but something going to miss with the race car as he's off the pace and headed for the pit area.
And Brian Burkhofer also pulling his car off the track for the night. Whenever the helmet comes off, that's a dead giveaway that there are big-time problems on a race car.
Just past the halfway point, we can see several cars, including race leader Wendell Wallace, down on the bottom of the racetrack in that loose, moist dirt, cooling off those tires.
Strategy even under yellow here at Thunder Valley Speedway.
Some guys like long legs. Some like blonde hair. Then there are guys who like alternators from 84 Chrysler Lasers. Car guys, your website is here. CarParts.com, the world's largest supply of parts and accessories for cars and trucks.
You probably should mention this to the wife.
CarParts.com.
Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires? Any road you choose. And now we've been ranked best original equipment tire for light truck vehicles and customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
We got movement. Go, go, go! Hang on, light.
The next generation Subaru Outback comes standard with full-time all-wheel drive.
There it is, over there!
It delivers incredible traction and control.
Whoa, I see it!
So you can always be ready to face the unknown.
Did you see the size of that thing?
Yeah, they're kind of cute when they're babies.
Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon from Subaru.
Next Sunday, get same-day coverage of motorcycle race action with World Superbike racing from Donington Park and Grand Prix motorcycle racing from France. That's World Superbike Sunday night at 8 Eastern and the French GP 500 and 250 starting at 9.
Scott Bloomquist is having fun in the Jumbalaya 100 presented by the Louisiana Department of Tourism and Recreation. We mentioned earlier how radios are not being run in the series this year, and we talked with Scott before the race about the impact that is having.
Two-way radios have not always been to your advantage. I've seen you use a pit board in the past. You've got a brand new device here this evening that you're using. How is not having a two-way radio affecting you now?
It's not too bad. We just pipe a little hard rock and roll to the helmet and race.
Got the CD player going.
Scott has always kind of marched to the beat of a different drummer. In fact, I think he's got a drummer from one of the bigger rock groups in his pit. I don't follow the headbanging music, so I couldn't tell you who it was. The guy seemed to be fairly normal. Scott's got his own outlook on life, and tell you what, he's got his eye out on the lead as he's sitting in the third spot as we are back to green, putting a move to the outside of Freddie Smith.
Well, coming out of the caution, these guys have had an opportunity to cool those tires down. The guys running the harder compound tires are going to take them a little longer to get those tires up to the proper operating temperature. While Bloomquist goes to the outside immediately after the green flag comes out, and he's challenging Freddie Smith for second spot.
Smith winless so far this year. Bloomquist also looking for his first victory of 2000. Wendell Wallace has been to victory lane.
And Wendell Wallace, he's in the top 5 in the point standings, as is Bloomquist. Freddie Smith in the 6th spot, just outside of the top 5. A good finish here could help his chances as they're side by side into turn 3.
Let's see who's got the better bike coming up off the corner. At the line, give it to Freddie, just barely, but Bloomquist has found the high group to his liking, gets a better bite, and will take over the second position. Let's see if Smith can challenge again.
Freddie Smith taking the short way around on the inside, but Bloomquist, he's got to travel further, but he can go faster with the momentum on the outside.
This is the kind of racing you have when you have a multiple group speedway. It looked like Smith was blocked out a second, but look at how he has re-challenged for the position.
And Scott Bloomquist taking firm control of that second spot. And Mark, look at him move right down to the bottom. Once he got by Freddie Smith, he took it right down to the inside.
Our next TV telecast from the new Texas Motor Speedway. That's going to be a beaut. And then 36 degrees, they're going to put dirt on the banking at Bristol Motor Speedway. If you can't be there, you have got to be with us. That will be, without question, the most intriguing race this series has ever run.
Mark, that is definitely going to be a big one. We're expecting a record car count, a record attendance, and some of the fastest speeds we've ever seen on the Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Bristol Motor Speedway is definitely going to be the place to be on June 2nd and 3rd.
Texas is going to be a heck of a show, too, with that brand new facility there. It is absolutely gorgeous. They're also building a new track at Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. The one car, the 1M of Jimmy Mars. We haven't talked much about him, but now he's insinuating himself into the battle.
Jimmy Mars unloaded that car Thursday during the practice, and it looked a little bit different because it had Dodge Intrepid on the nose piece and a Gary Stanton-built Mopar Performance engine under the hood of that Parker Stores Dodge Intrepid.
We've got to remember that. We haven't seen a whole lot of that five-star emblem in dirt late model racing, but that will be changing not only this season, but in the years to come. And welcome aboard Dodge. Meanwhile, back up front, Wendell Wallace has just worked around the W7 of Thomas Ware, and is also working his way now into deeper traffic as Mike Belzano and our pole sitter Dan Schleifer are the next challenge he has to surmount.
Well, Dan Schleifer running a little, whoa, I was just about to say running a little more conservatively, and then he scrapes the wall in the back straightaway.
Oh, he's put a few marks up there the entire weekend. Look, I think we got him 3 wide. Oh, yes, we do. Wallace gets down to the inside, but look at this battle now as Scott Bloomquist is reeled in, our race leader.
Wendell Wallace trying to move underneath Mike Balzano, but Bloomquist on the move, now running the inside groove on his Miller Brothers Cole Ford Mustang, a Warrior chassis, trying to chase down a GRT chassis to Wendell Wallace.
This is as close as he has been to the point over these last few laps. That 3 wide action allowed Scott Bloomquist to close in, but he hasn't got the job done yet.
What will be interesting to see is what is Scott Bloomquist going to do if he can catch Wendell Wallace. We've seen Bloomquist running multiple grooves all night long. Wendell Wallace pretty much deciding to run the inside groove of Thunder Valley Speedway. That's where he's been running all night long, but he's been making it work and running quick.
Wendell Wallace actually opening up just a little bit of a margin, but it's only a matter of a couple of feet. It depends on where they are catching the lapped cars, as Bill Fry is the car directly in front of our race leader. Scott Bloomquist has worked his way clear of the lapped car of Mike Balzano.
And Bloomquist sees that Wendell Wallace could get pinned behind Bill Fry as he's running the inside. So Bloomquist going to step to the outside and try to use Bill Fry as a pick. Wallace bumps Fry to let him know he's there and give him room, but Fry is right down on the inside about as far as he can get. Bloomquist has the car of Vernon Smith in front of him on the outside, the purple number 4 car.
Who's your buddy? Who's your pal? There are none with less than 25 laps to go, as Scott Bloomquist clearly has the point. He's got Bill Fry right down to the inside, using him as a pick if he can get through Vernon Smith without contact, which he does, and is able to. This is just great racing. What do you call it, folks? Sit back and enjoy it. Scott Bloomquist, a master in race traffic.
Scott Bloomquist had just enough room to get underneath Vernon Smith and in front of Wendell Wallace. Now he still has to negotiate his way around Bill Fry's 66 car as Freddie Smith from the 3rd spot now begins to close in on the 2 leaders.
There was so much action there, it was just a matter of sit back and enjoy it. There wasn't really anything that we really needed to say about it. When you see somebody who's got as much experience and as much savvy as Scott Bloomquist, you watch him work through traffic, you still marvel how he didn't lay a fender on anybody getting around to the point. But Wendell Wallace has not given up, neither has Freddie Smith.
Well, Freddie Smith, like Wendell Wallace, running the inside groove all night long, and Wendell Wallace still has not got around the lap car of Bill Fry, car number 66, as Bloomquist now trying to clear Fry. Wallace will go to the outside, and he'll try to muster up enough speed to move around the outside of Bill Fry. He did. Probably wishes maybe he made that move just about 3 laps earlier.
Yeah, it was definitely apparent that Wendell Wallace wanted to be running down to the low side of the track, but Bill Fry had it, and when he had to go upstairs, he gave up at least 2 car lengths to Scott Bloomquist. Nope, we've got trouble on the track. It's Vernon Smith. As brought out our fourth caution of the evening.
Vernon Smith, a Hav A Tampa 2000 Rookie of the Year contender out of Rome, Georgia, in the Ideal Mobile Homes GRT. As there's the field summary as we're in the second half of the race. We'll be right back right after this.
Fasten your seatbelts. This music's gonna rock you. Come on, crank it up for this new 33-song collection of hard rockin' hits. Rock me, rock me. We all need a little love hurts. 33 great rock groups in one awesome collection. Time for me to Crank It Up is not sold in stores, so order now. Don't tell me you love me. Don't tell me you love me. I feel a fool for your loving no more. I feel the sun shining down on me. Call this toll-free number now for Crank It Up. 2 cassettes, $19.98. 2 CDs, $26.98. Have your credit card ready and call now.
Monday nights, lock on to Speed Vision's NASCAR Inside Winston Cup Racing with all the action.
You get in that group, and it's just, you're tense all the time.
And insights.
Look for good things this year from the Chevy.
Monday nights at 7 Eastern, 8 Pacific. Every week on Speed Vision. Now hear this. You have entered the motor news and information superhighway, speedvision.com. From the network that drives, flies, speeds, and soars to the end of the earth to bring you highlights, analysis, insights, product news from those experts that live it 24 hours a day. Speedvision.com. Now with expanded coverage and news from the world of speed from Speed Vision and Racer Magazine. Get the inside line anytime. Log on to speedvision.com.
Our concerns about rain are for naught, and that is a good thing, as all 100 laps here in the Jumbalaya 100 look like they will be completed. Not without incident, because we have had lots of excitement, but now we're down to a single-file restart. The lead lap cars in the front. This is a clean racetrack for everybody to take a shot at Scott Bloomquist with 17 laps to go.
And there's something a little different on that restart. Wendell Wallace tried the outside in the 6M car. He's still up there. Freddie Smith down on the bottom, going to try to take advantage of that, but Wendell Wallace gets right back down on the inside.
For all the latest information on your favorite late model dirt series, the HaveATampaRacing.com website. That's the place to visit.
Terry English having a great run tonight in car number 96 in his first full season of Hav A Tampa Racing out of Benton, Kentucky in the Mid-Continental Fuel Spray for Monte Carlo.
And here's two drivers we're expecting great things from this season. Jimmy Mars in the 1M, Steve Shaver in the 30 car. We already know what Steve Francis can do. He all but won the series championship last year. Were it not for the great finish by Wendell Wallace, Scott Bloomquist, and of course Dale McDowell, he would have won the title. Speedvision.com. That's the place to visit. Motorsports news and information. If you're not visiting speedvision.com, you're missing the very latest in motorsports news and excitement.
And Dale McDowell having a good run tonight after a disastrous first 7-8 races of the season. Dale McDowell looks like he is in a position to come home with a top 10 finish here in Glenmora, Louisiana.
That is what that team needs very badly. Went and bought a new transporter for the start of the 2000 season. They're all set and loaded for bear, but have been firing blanks ever since they unloaded at the first race of the season.
Well, that's one mark of being a champion, is to overcome adversity and put your program back together after you have a little bit of bad luck. And Dale McDowell and his crew chief, Brother Shane, are doing just that here tonight. Shannon Babb moving up to challenge Terry English in the 96 car. This is for the 4th position. Babb pulls alongside, but just can't get the nose out in front of Terry English as he gets a good bite coming off that fourth turn into turn number 1.
This is the kind of racing up front we have seen all evening. If you're just joining our telecast, Dan Schleifer sat at the pole, led early. Billy Moyer also led a couple of circuits before Wendell Wallace took over. Dan Schleifer popped the wall, has fallen several laps down, replacing a tie rod and a right front tire. Then just past mid-race, Scott Bloomquist took charge and has been on the point ever since.
Scott Bloomquist working the inside groove as he comes up on the W7 car of Thomas Ware. He'll plant it down on the bottom of the racetrack and move under the Undertaker Thomas Ware, sponsored by Ware Funeral Homes.
Scott Bloomquist, the all-time series winningest driver in the Miller Brothers Cole-sponsored entry. One of the few Fords in the field. He has here, as well as basically every place else he's gone over his career, he has been the man that everybody kind of pays attention to, even if he's not running well in practice or the heats. They know come feature time that he and his program always find a way to be near the front at the end.
Scott Bloomquist looking for Hav A Tampa career win number 68 here tonight, and that's almost 3 times the number of victories to the next driver on that win list, which is Billy Moyer at 22.
This will be the best battle on the track, with Bloomquist pulling away as Wendell Wallace continues to hold on to second with everything he's got over Freddie Smith, a past series champion himself.
And the lap traffic working Bloomquist's ways, working down on the inside of the racetrack. Now looks like most of the lap traffic working the outside. But as we saw earlier, Bloomquist, anytime he needs to do it, can step to the outside and use that outside groove as a passing lane.
And it is a 4.3-second advantage for Scott Bloomquist.
So Bloomquist is rolling along. He'll move up to put another lap on Bill Fry in car number 66, the UniFirst Uniforms Warrior Grand Prix. And maybe we'll see Bloomquist if he's got anything left on the outside, as we've been seeing him run all over this racetrack all night long. As he started in 10th, 1 lap to go. He may not even have to move around Bill Fry, a commanding lead with now a half a lap to go.
On the side of Scott Bloomquist's car for a number of years has been a Latin expression, no weak links. There were none tonight, and he wins the Jumbalaya 100, pulling away from the field. Second will go to Wendell Wallace, third to Freddie Smith. We'll be back in just a moment to talk to tonight's winner. Stay with us.
In Louisiana, we have something called a second line. A unique little parade that's a whole lot of fun. The great thing is, everybody can join in. You can too. Call 1-800-99-GUMBO for your free tour guide. Follow the music to Louisiana.
It didn't have to end like this. Armor All Protectant. Armor All Car Wax. It's not just shine, it's Armor All.
This preview contains 2 flame-broiled, quarter-pound burgers, smothered with hot melted cheese. That's a lot of meat for national television. Got the urge?
Freedom is alive! It's here, brothers and sisters, a place where you can be free to ride your machines.
Saturday nights on Speedvision at 11 Eastern, it's Hot Rod and Biker Flicks at the Lost Drive-In. And the season wraps up with Speedvision Road Racing F1 and everything that moves on motorcycles. Every week on Speedvision.
It's time to enter the light!
Feel the power of speed.
A strategic, well-driven race by Scott Bloomquist puts him in victory lane tonight, with Terry English and Shannon Babb having a good battle for 4th and 5th. English gets it. Let's go trackside to Bill Hennessy, who is with tonight's winner.
Congratulations to the man that has come to victory lane here, Scott Bloomquist, winning for the first time in the 2000 season of the Hav A Tampa Tour. And you just keep notching him up on the all-time victory list, Scott.
Well, you know, we've had a pretty good run going this year, all year, and just have had a little bit of bad luck. You know, we blew up at Brunswick leading that race, but we won at Bulls Gap 2 weeks ago and hadn't raced since. And this is a brand new car we built over the winter at Warrior Chassis, and things have been working really well. So, you know, we're pretty pleased. I can't say enough of our custom race engine either. It's been flawless. It just keeps on running.
Some concern about the tires here tonight. Did you pick the right combination? And what about the pass for the win?
Well, you know, we could move all over the racetrack. You could see early off the cautions I had to struggle a little bit. I knew that was going to be probably the case. I saw a lot of guys out there a lot softer, and, you know, we actually saw some softer tires run better tonight than I even expected they would. I think Wendell went quite soft, and it seemed to stay with him. But, you know, we just had a super car, and yeah, I'm sure we did choose the right tires.
No doubt you did, Scott, as we take a look at the English Mountain Springwater final results from 6th through the rest of the field. Dale McDowell up tonight. Started 22nd. A good run tonight for them.
Steve Francis finishing in 7th. Rick Eckert 11th. So Francis will gain some more ground on Eckert in that championship hunt.
Billy Moyer started 2nd, but slid back through the field. Bill Fry, disappointing evening for him. Davey Johnson was running 2nd when he had a problem. Sleeper 3rd when he hit the wall. Let's go back to Bill.
Wendell, for 3/4 of the race, you were the dominant factor. Then he passes you on the high side. How did that happen?
Well, mainly because of lap traffic. But, you know, he had a real good race car. We caught a couple cars, and you know, they just wouldn't. We done lapped them once, and they wouldn't get up out of the group. But, you know, we'll remember that next time. So, I don't know. You know, we was geared up to run the bottom, and it just acted like our tires left a little bit the longer we run. And I just worked them too hard trying to get by some lap cars.
Steve Francis still leading the points. 47 points over Rick Eckert. Wendell Wallace moves to within 30 of Rick Eckert as we look at 6 through 10.
And that is the story from Glenmora, Louisiana. Scott Bloomquist, his first win of the season tonight. Until next time, from the Texas Motor Speedway. For Bill Hennessy and Roby Helm, this is Mark Allen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.